All right.
Take the like the art.
Are you guys getting busy?
Yeah.
You don't think it's
You gearing up for the summer already and like?
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna get started.
Okay,
I'm gonna call the March 17th, 2026 regular meeting of the Cook County Grand Marais Joint Economic Development Authority to order at 4:01 p.m. Commissioners present include Mills, Bibi Gudice, Shackleton, Anderson, Clissold. Absent is Benson today, but I'm happy to report that Grand Marais City Councilor Ben Peters is serving as the city alternate tonight for Commissioner Benson. Commissioners, the agenda was provided to you in advance of the meeting. I would request any additions or changes. If none, is there a motion to approve the March 17th, 2026 agenda?
So moved.
Second?
Second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
That reminds me, I need to do a roll call with Commissioner Anderson joining remotely. So Mills?
Aye.
Bibi Gudice?
Aye.
Shackleton?
Aye.
Anderson?
Aye.
Peters?
Aye.
And Clissold is also an aye. All right, moving on to public comments. Any members of the public that wish to speak on items not on today's agenda, please state your name for the public record. Please note the public hearing related to the Superior National Golf Course sale will follow in a few minutes. So any folks that wish to make a comment to the board this afternoon? Okay. All right, seeing none, we'll move on to public hearings. Resolution 2026-08. This is the resolution authorizing the sale of real and personal property assets of Superior National at Lutsen Golf Course. So this next agenda item is the public hearing itself for the proposed sale of Superior National. This public hearing is being held pursuant to Minnesota statute section 169-105. That requires the EDA to hold a public hearing prior to approving the sale of EDA-owned property, real estate, and assets. Now, the notice of this public hearing was published in the Cook County News Herald on March the 7th, 2026, and the proposed purchase agreement has been available for public review, and I will now open the public hearing. So at this time, the EDA will accept comments from members of the public regarding the proposed sale. If you wish to speak, please come forward and state your name for the public record before providing your comments. Comments should be directed to us on the board, but the board won't be engaging in discussion during this public hearing, but we'll consider all comments as part of our deliberation later in the meeting. So if there's anyone who wishes to speak, please approach the chair to state your name and keep your comments to a couple of minutes. And who wants to go first?
I guess I will.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Julie Rao, and I live just outside of Grand Marais. Okay, I want you to know that I am all in favor of a sale. Okay. If the property is retained, I would like to see some remedy of the cash shortfalls and the expense to the county residents. I received some information about the cash shortfalls, and to me it looks like the projected shortfalls, cash and expenses in 2023 is $163,000, and I am understanding that does not include the bond interest. So in actuality, the cash shortfall is $325,000. That's a lot for the county residents, and also to have to come up with a couple $1 million in improvements over the next few years, I think is too much. That kind of loss, if it's sold to a private person and they have run their numbers and they know how to operate a golf course, they should be able to remedy that. But I don't know if the EDA or anyone here is really experienced enough to be able to continue to run the golf course. So I would still want those numbers to be remedied if it was to be retained. If it is sold, I have a little bit of confusion over the numbers that are being, it says that irrigation, there's a $230,000 expense, and the septic is $270,000, so that's $500,000 altogether. But then there's a footnote that says 150% is retained. I don't know if that's the 150%. If that's 100%, there looks like there'd be more having to be loaned from the county. But if that does include the 150%, I could see the $90,000 deficit being able to be worked out when that is repaid. So, okay, my comments. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who would like to speak regarding the proposed sale?
Something to add from the perspective of Cook County and the Cook County Chamber of Commerce in that generally we are very focused on making sure that golf is part of our amenities and attractions and draws, and we are in support of whatever keeps golf thriving in our community and is best for all of us here. Dan.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that wishes to speak regarding the sale? I do have a couple of notes that were forwarded to me on this subject. I'll go ahead and read a couple of these before offering the floor to anyone who wishes to speak. This is from Craig Hunter, Cook County resident. I support the sale of the course and the proposed purchasers. I had a walking membership at Superior National for some time in recent years and got a good feel for the course. It's a great layout and wonderful views. The course would not exist in its present form without the involvement of the Cook County EDA and the IRRB grant the EDA facilitated for course development. But the EDA is not a golf course management company and cannot allocate the funds necessary to maintain the course in top condition. The staff at the course has done everything possible to manage the course as well as can be done with the funds available, but they can only do so much with limited resources. The proposed purchaser and management company own and manage a golf course called Golden Eagle in Emily, Minnesota. I played there last summer, and it was among the best maintained courses I have ever played. If they manage Superior National in a similar manner, it will elevate it from a diamond in the rough to a real gem. Craig Hunter. This next note is from Grand Marais resident Jane Alexander. I love Cook County, but loving the county means being honest about what it should and shouldn't be doing. Running a golf course is not the reason for Cook County government to exist. The job of the county is to maintain roads, ensure public safety, and steward taxpayer dollars, not manage tee times and a pro shop. Right now, Cook County has about as much business running a golf course as a snowplow driver has operating a sushi restaurant. Both are honorable jobs, but they are not the same skill set. And pretending otherwise gets expensive fast. Selling a golf course to people whose actual business is hospitality and recreation isn't giving something away. It's putting it in the hands of people that can make it thrive. Well, the county gets back to doing the things that only a county can do, and the sale makes significant future expenses off the books, and the sale takes significant future expenses off the books while generating jobs, property taxes, and potential investment in our county. Let's be good stewards of public money and practical about public priorities. Jane Alexander, Grand Marais. Is there anyone else who wishes to speak at this time regarding the sale of the golf course? One more note. This is from Howard Hedstrom. I fully endorse the proposed sale of Superior National. Having served on the EDA board for 12 years and a number of those as president, I am very familiar with the operation and the financials of Superior National. I was on the board early to recommend the sale of Superior National, which has been in the works for some time. I believe all the proper processes have been followed in this journey to get to this point. My early criteria for a sale of Superior National are being met. Keeping Superior National a viable golf course open to the public and not being turned into a saleable real estate for other uses. And selling at a price that is not disadvantageous to the EDA, yet not so high a price that would impair the new owner to be successful. I believe the proper balance has been found. The problems found during due diligence, including septic and water intake, would be a huge burden for the EDA, but for the sale at this time, as those repairs and costs would have to be fully addressed. I think the best interests of Cook County and its taxpayers are best served by this proposed sale. Sincerely, Howard Hester. Okay, are there any other folks in the audience who wish to make comments regarding the proposed sale? No? Okay. If there are no further comments, I'll close the public hearing. Last chance. Okay. The EDA will consider the proposed sale and the associated resolution later in the agenda under new business. But thank you to all who made comments. Okay, next item is approval of meeting minutes. And there are 3 sets of meeting minutes. The last regular meeting, which was the 17th of February, can be found on pages 1 through 3 of the packet. We had a special meeting on the 23rd that can be found on page 4, and an additional special meeting on March the 3rd, which can be found on page 5. Any changes or discussion regarding those minutes? Okay, seeing none, is there a motion to approve the February 17th, February 23rd, and March 3rd meeting minutes?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Do a roll call. Mills?
Aye.
E.B. Gudice?
Aye.
Shackleton?
Aye.
Anderson? Siri? Oh, you're on mute, but I can see you saying aye.
Aye.
Peters?
Aye.
Clissold is also an aye. Okay, meeting minutes approved. Next item is a review of the financials. You'll find this on pages 6 through 15. So the balance sheet for the EDA is 6 through 9. Bill approvals on page 10, and the balance sheet for Superior National, pages 11 through 15. And also the Business Development Grant Fund report for 2025 can be found on page 16. I'll turn it over to Commissioner Shackleton for any comments.
Okay, so the EDA financials, P&L and balance sheet are within norms and close to budget expectations. What's not reflected in the balance sheet is a transfer of funds from the EDA bank.
Sorry, Mark, is your mic on?
Sorry about that.
Thank you.
The EDA financials, P&L and balance sheet are within expectations and close to budget. But what's not reflected in the balance sheet is a transfer of funds from the EDA to the golf course to meet their cash needs in the off season. So that will reflect in the March balance sheet, but we did make that transaction already. The golf course, it's the off season as well. The off season, and right now this revenue season is a little less than what it was last year. That's because of Papa Charlie's is full up and running, but it was not last year. So there's a food and beverage competition out in Lewiston right now. So the revenues are down a little bit. Again, it's not really a profit driver. It's something to bring in some cash and cover some of the costs. So it's not meaningful in any way. And again, we moved the money over from EDA to the golf course to get us to a healthy cash expectation and expenses that we need to get to closing. But nothing out of the ordinary other than that. So if anyone has any questions about either one, I'm available.
All right, EDA commissioners accept and forward to audit the balance sheet as of February 28th, 2026 for both the EDA and Superior National. Is there a motion to approve the February 2026 payments? So, thank you. Second?
Second.
Do a roll call. Mills?
Aye.
B.B. Gudice?
Aye.
Shackleton?
Aye.
Anderson?
Aye.
Peters?
Aye.
And Clissold is an aye. Okay, motion carries. Okay, new business. This is Resolution 2026-07, approving the Business Development Fund grant awards and authorizing execution of the grant contracts, pages 17 through 33 in the Commissioner's packet. So the first round of applications for the 2026 program were due back on February the 4th, 2026. The EDA received 13 applications. The Grant Review Committee met to review those applications and worked with NSDC to request, in some cases, additional materials, if needed, to evaluate the proposal. The committee is recommending 8 grant awards this evening, which are summarized in the memo provided by NSDC in the agenda packet. Also included in the memo is a summary of work completed by the Grant Review Committee to further strengthen and standardize the business development fund grant contract template. So the updated template ensures consistent terms related to reimbursement documentation, eligibility requirements, and post-completion operational commitments. And a sample agreement reflecting those terms has been included in the agenda packet so commissioners can understand really fully the conditions attached to the grant award based on the amount and type, as an example, equipment grants versus non-equipment grants. So the total amount recommended for this first round of awards is $86,098.46. The 2026 BDF has a total budget of $200,000 for the year. So with up to $100,000 allocated for this first of 3 rounds in this cycle, so the awards fall just a little bit short of that allocation. If we go ahead and approve as recommended, that would leave us with about $113,900 remaining in our budget for future grant awards in 2026. So what we'll do, we'll review each award that's been recommended. I'll summarize the project using the memo that was included in the deck, and we'll ask if any commissioners have any questions. And if the applicants are present, they're more than welcome also to add any brief comments at the front desk. It's always great to hear from applicants, their views on the grant awards and the business. Commissioner P.D. Gudice, anything you want to add before we get into the grants?
Maybe my only comment would be is, this my new EDA, I've been in it for just over a year now, and the guidelines and the application process were thoroughly revised in 2024, and in 2025, the Grant Review Committee and this group undertook another revision based on things that were learned from the 2024 review cycle. And the purpose of these 3 deadlines is to, 1, eliminate the rolling system that we had in place last year, created a lot more work, a little more inconsistency in the review process, and didn't quite achieve maybe consistency in the program that we were hoping for. So by establishing 3 deadlines throughout the year, we're able to group applications all into specific cycles and continue to strive for consistency in the administration of this program, which is really important considering the source of these funds and I think the nature of our small community.
Great, thank you. Before we get into the grants themselves, I do want to spend a moment and just discuss conflict disclosures. So the resolution before us has all 8 grants together. So commissioners with any conflicts on any one of the grants should declare that now. And as you might remember from our previous discussions on how we'll handle conflicts, not only will the vote not occur for that individual, we would also ask that they step out and be brought back into the room at the end of that portion of the conversation. So any Any conflicts that anyone wishes to note before we get started?
I'm going to recuse myself from the CSU and Loy-Lu grant recommendation
Okay,
and remove myself from the discussion at the appropriate time.
okay. And I'm going to recuse myself from the Violence Prevention Center grant. My wife serves on the board, so I'll step out for the VPC. Anybody else?
I'll recuse myself from the Taproot Floral.
Deborah? Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
I rent to Elisa, so.
Okay.
Sorry,
which grant?
Refugia?
The taproot. Davis,
What do you say, how do you say
Oh, Refugia.
it?
And the good news is it doesn't impact our quorum status here from a voting standpoint, so we're good there. Okay, so the first grant application, in fact, is Dream Superior LLC, DBA Sisu and Loy-Lu. And Alex, if you wouldn't mind just stepping up for a moment. So the recommended
Here's to it. Not gonna tell you.
The recommended grant is $25,000. The required match is $6,250. The post-completion operational requirement is 5 years. Quick description of the business: Dream Superior LLC is a locally owned wellness business operating as Sisu and Loy-Lu, a Nordic sauna and cold plunge experience located here in Grand Marais. Since opening in 2021, the business has grown into a destination wellness facility serving residents and visitors. So a summary of the project that generated the grant. Grant funds will support early vertical construction for a new bathhouse facility, including concrete footings and insulated concrete forms. The estimated $2.05 million project will expand the existing sauna facility to include a large event sauna with lake views, steam room, plunge pool, hot and warm pools, locker and shower amenities, and expanded outdoor gathering space. The expansion is expected to increase daily guest capacity, convert several part-time roles into full-time positions, and create additional part-time and seasonal employment opportunities. The project supports tourism, local supplier partnerships, tax-based growth, including increased property tax generation, and continued growth of Grand Marais as a wellness destination. And I believe our applicant representative, Casey Usum, is here. Any comments or questions from commissioners? And I'd invite Katie to join us up front, make a comment if she would. Thank you. Questions or?
Not all that, no
comments?
question, but.
I have a question. So I remember when I first got on planning and zoning, I think you guys came through.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have the new building stuff? Do you have to go through the planning process again? Do you have to come to the city?
We'll need a land use permit, like any project, but we're not asking for any variances or exceptions, so zoning is conforming for our use.
So in order to put a building up, you would require, like, you need something from the city, so.
Yes, we need a land use permit, and we have been in touch with the city for the last year, checking in along the way so that, there isn't any big surprises, and they've met with some of our engineers and our architects.
Okay. And they don't have any issue?
Nothing's been flagged as a concern that we know.
Great. Any other questions?
Katie, just a question. So the project that the grant is funding, that work is to be done this summer, or? what's the
Construction should start in June,
timeline? Okay.
and then we're estimating an 8-month timeline.
Okay, and then the full-blown project, is there still a schedule for that yet, or do you have an idea on that? For
For
the complete project, the whole?
Q1 of 2027.
Thank you.
Ideally earlier, but
Yeah,
construction things always come up, so.
thank you.
Great. Great, thank you so much.
Thanks for
Appreciate it.
consideration.
Okay, the next grant is for Crosby Bakery LLC. Anyone see Alex out there?
Yeah, I'm gonna get it.
Pager. Not gonna get off that easy, Alex. Thanks, Alex. The next grant is for Crosby Bakery LLC. The recommended grant is in the amount of $21,679.35. The required match is $5,087.77. So the post-completion operational requirement is 5 years, plus the equipment clause applies here. So the business description, Crosby Bakery. It's a retail bakery located in downtown Grand Marais, specializing in scratch-made baked goods, including breads and pastries. The bakery was founded in 2019 as a wholesale operation before transitioning into a retail storefront in 2024. Demand for the bakery's products has grown rapidly, and the business is currently operating at full baking capacity. So quick summary of the project itself. Grant funds will support the purchase of a 4th commercial oven, improving temperature consistency and allowing the bakery to increase production capacity. The investment will help reduce product shortages during peak periods and support continued business growth while contributing to the local sales tax base and downtown business activity. And I see we've got Hannah Crosby joining us this afternoon from Crosby. Any comments for Hannah regarding this grant? Questions?
Is it gonna enable different products or just other products?
Not at this time,
Okay.
but hopefully. That's always our goal.
Sounds great.
More baguettes, perhaps?
Just
Yes, actually, that is one of the things, the baguettes we can only bake in, so we have some used ovens and we have one oven that we purchased new. And that is our one oven that we are willing to bake baguettes in. So this actually would increase baguette production.
Any other questions or comments for Hannah? All right, thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
The next grant is for the Violence Prevention Center, and I'll step out for this one. Alex, if you could lead the group through that. You got it.
So the Violence Prevention Center is being recommended for a $20,500 grant with a $4,675 match. This is a nonprofit organization. We don't necessarily see many of these types of businesses apply for funding, which is really great to see this application come through. It's a nonprofit organization that's provided crisis and advocacy services to survivors of domestic and sexual violence in Cook County since 1986. And the organization currently operates from office space within the Cascade building in Grand Marais, just up the hill. And as the organization has grown, its office space has become fragmented and insufficient for confidential client meetings and staff operations. This application, is a lot of times we see like new businesses or hospitality or tourism-based businesses asking for funds to grow their business, whatever. This one is seeking funding to enhance their ability to provide their existing services and expand. So these funds will support the remodeling and expansion of the office space to create additional space, improve client meeting areas, and a more cohesive operational space. Allow the organization to expand services, support additional staff positions, and improve service delivery for residents and visitors in Cook County. Because this project deals with improvements to a lease building, the grant review committee recommended an 8-year operational requirement and the lease agreement between the building owner and the organization prior to the contract execution. I think for my personal notes, in addition to what I just said, the thing that stood out from this application was the organization really hasn't been able to perform within the industry standards regarding confidentiality in space. This grant will allow them to do so by creating safe places, confidential spaces to provide the services that they already do and to reach other people, families, etc., that need those services as well. So we have Sarah, Mauchin.
Yes.
Great.
Yeah. Thank you.
Do you have anything you want to add to the just very general description I just gave?
Sure. Well, that was good. That was a really good summary. But yeah, generally, this will directly allow us to create new staff positions, 2 positions. This has been a long time coming. We've had issues with confidentiality and space and navigating privacy in our current building since 1986. So it's just time, especially because we've seen just an increased demand in our services year over year. So we're at the time now where we have to either move out of the building, which is really hard to do in Grand Marais to find a new space, or remodel it. And Cascade is more than willing to partner with us on this and is really supportive of doing the construction themselves and just wanting us to stay in that building. So this is kind of the opportunity for us to be able to do that.
Commissioners, have any questions or thoughts? Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Sarah. Okay. All right, next up then is Scaredy Cat LLC, DBA Scaredy Cat Music. Recommended grant of $5,000. Required match doesn't apply in this case. Post-completion operational requirements of 3 years. So a quick description about the business. Scaredy Cat Music is a music education studio in Grand Marais providing private lessons, group classes, and early childhood music programming. The studio currently serves more than 150 students per week and has expanded programming significantly in recent years. Quick summary of the project itself. Grant funds will support professional website development and commissioned artwork to improve marketing, program enrollment, and scholarship fundraising. The improved website will help facilitate the hiring of additional instructors and administrative support, enabling the studio to expand programming and continue serving the growing demand for music education in the community. And I believe we've got applicant Benjamin Nichols here. Great. Come on up. Sure. Any questions for Benjamin? Any comments? Sounds like a great initiative.
What's that?
Sounds like a great initiative.
Oh, yeah. I've been since I started teaching up here a few years ago, just kind of gathering that sort of information about what students are interested in that we don't have here yet. And especially in parts of the county that are outside of the city of Grand Marais, for example, being able to expand our family program out to Grand Portage is some conversations I've been having, and possibly out in the West End as well. So just things that can't happen when it's me. So yeah, I'm excited about, I've reached my capacity, and then this is something I've been wanting to do, so I'm excited about the next step, yeah.
Thank you.
Nice.
Questions for Benjamin?
Do you have some instructors lined up already, if you have in mind?
Yeah, it's hard to, there's no one, I have like a few people that will be starting out a trial student to see how it goes. Of course, like, until I have the resources that I need, it's hard to say for sure, yeah, let's get you started at X number of students and get students registered and all that. So little conversations that you have with people, and yeah, would you want to try out with a student, see how it goes? And so I know that there's the prospects out there, and so yeah.
There's 1 or 2 musicians out there.
Yeah, yeah. It's a nice way. It's a nice way, I think, to be able to offer to people who do that. Maybe not be a full-time gig, but something that brings them a lot of joy, and they can make an income and obviously provide a program to students here. Yeah.
My question might be answered in the full application, so I apologize.
Sure,
I only got the summary here, but with whom will the dollars be spent on the website development itself?
Yeah, we have Sweetwater Design doing the website development, and then local artist Corey Stuckelberg will be continuing. She made the first image, she did the first image work for my current website, so
Great, okay,
she'll be continuing that. Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah.
Anything else for Benjamin?
Then, in your application, you described, among other things, this website would help you increase your capacity for fundraising, for
Yes.
scholarships specifically.
Yes.
How many of your students receive any sort of assistance for your services?
Yeah, so at the moment, the scholarship program is for our Music Together classes, so those are the early childhood family classes. And for the last, right now I have 5 families receiving the scholarships. Yeah, some people receive half, and then 2 families receive a full scholarship. So folks apply they're eligible for a year, so it rotates a little bit as families come in and out of the program. And we gave out $4,000 last year, and we're on track to do the same this year, so that's great. And then I also want to be able to expand it out into lessons, so that it just has more impact. Yeah, so the website will have those infrastructure things, not only with the scholarship fundraising, but also having those infrastructures built in for administration allows me more time to actually do direct outreach and things of that nature. So. Mm-hmm.
Great, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for considering it. Yeah.
Okay, the next grant is for Common Ground Home Services LLC. The recommended grant amount is $4,729.05, and the required match is 0, doesn't apply here. Post-completion operational requirements of 3 years, plus the equipment clause applies. So briefly, the business itself, Common Ground Home Services is a newly established handyman and small business construction service based in Cook County. The business focuses on providing reliable repair, maintenance, and light renovation services that are often too small for larger contractors, but critical for local homeowners and small businesses. And the project itself, grant funds will support the purchase of a modular truck tool storage and professional grade carpentry equipment. The investment will improve operational efficiency, tool security, and service capacity while supporting long-term business viability and expanding access to local skilled trades and services. And the applicant, who I believe is here, Braden Gillespie. Is Braden here? Nope, I'm mistaken. Okay. Any comments on Common Ground Home Services?
Is a modular truck tool storage a trailer?
No, it's not.
I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
It sits in the bed?
Yeah, it is.
Okay.
Yeah. And this is a vet too on the business.
Okay, thank you. Okay, next up is, I might mispronounce this, Refugia Designs LLC, DBA Taproot Floral. The recommended grant is $4,500, no required match. Post-completion operational requirements of 3 years, plus the equipment clause applies. Taproot Floral is an expansion of Taproot Landscaping, a Grand Marais-based landscaping and horticulture business established in 2009. A quick summary of the project itself. The project will support the purchase of a commercial-grade floral cooler previously used by Terra Bella Floral. It's 1 year old. With the closure of that business, the community has lost an important local flower supplier. The cooler will allow Taproot Floral to increase production and storage capacity for locally grown cut flowers and expand distribution to additional retail outlets and markets, including the Cook County Co-op and local farmer markets. And the applicant, Elisa Burns, is Elisa here? Hi Elisa, come on up. First of all, did I pronounce?
You did, yeah.
Oh, good, okay. Any questions or comments to share with Elisa?
Were you able to get going this year? Is it your expectation with the cut flowers?
Yes, the flower business I started 3 years ago, and in 2023, yes. And so this will be our 4th year, and we've been expanding every year. So we have field-grown flowers with the plans of putting up a greenhouse next year.
Okay, anything else?
I just want to make a comment. Correct me if I'm wrong, but thank you for the follow-up information you provided. This $4,500 grant is part of a much larger budget for your flower program.
Right, correct.
Including, I mean, there's a greenhouse in there, which is quite a bit of money. There's some other costs involved, so this is just a small piece of your expansion, right?
Correct,
Yeah.
yeah.
Great, thank you. Okay, the next grant is for North Roads Knits LLC. The grant amount is $2,691.16 with zero match requirement. Operational requirement of 3 years plus the equipment clause applies. This business, North Roads Knits, is a fiber arts business located in Hoagland, specializing in knitwear design, retail yarn sales, and handmade products. And the project associated with the grant will support equipment and setup supplies necessary to begin hand dyeing local yarn locally. The applicant currently sources dyed yarn from suppliers around the world and purchased more than $130,000 of yarn inventory in 2025. So local dye production will allow the business to retain more revenue locally, offer uniquely North Shore inspired yarn products, and expand the workshop, retail, and tourism opportunities tied to fiber arts. The grant review committee reduced the original request to remove inventory purchase yarn, which is not an eligible expense under the program guidelines. And the applicant, Jamie Rex. Is Jamie here this afternoon? No? Okay. Any comments regarding North Roads Knits LLC?
I like to visualize $130,000 of yarn.
Sounds comfortable.
You'd think that'd be a full room. Full garage or something.
Can't do it.
Okay, any other, no? Okay. Let's move on to Wandering Fern Retreats LLC. The recommended grant, $1,998.90, no match required. Operational requirements, again, 3 years, plus the equipment clause applies. Wandering Fern Retreats launched in January of 2026 and provides creative retreats, workshops, and coaching events hosted at various venues throughout Cook County. Grant funds will support the purchase of sewing and serger machines to expand retreat programming, as well as food transport coolers to improve safety and logistics when catering meals for retreat participants. These retreats bring participants to Cook County from outside the region, generating economic activity through lodging, dining, and venue rentals. The Grant Review Committee reduced the original request to remove technology purchases, including an iPhone and MacBook, and recommended funding only equipment directly related to retreat programming. Applicant Dorothy Brumal, actually she sent a note earlier this afternoon. She has fallen ill, and although she intended on attending this meeting, she's unfortunately unable to, so sends her regrets. But any comments or questions regarding Wandering Fern Retreats? No, seeing none. Okay, so we've gone through all eight of the grant applications. And NSDC has drafted grant agreements consistent with the recommendations of the Grant Review Committee, and draft agreements that have been shared with each applicant being considered for funding. So if approved, the resolution before the board tonight authorizes the board president, me, to execute those agreements substantially in the form included in the agenda packet. Okay? And a couple of us recused ourselves from one or more of the applications. So with that, is there a motion to approve Resolution 2026-07, approving the business development grant awards and authorizing execution of contracts?
Mr. President, I think we have to pull out the specific grants for each of the conflicts. Like,
Yeah,
I
we
can't
have to.
vote on,
Right, yeah, but the package would include grant applications that people are recusing themselves from, so. there's a-
Yeah, the approach that, the good news is the board's here with a quorum, so that's satisfied irrespective of how many of us recuse ourselves from a grant application. There are, I believe, 3 remaining board members who haven't been impacted by any recusal, and so a majority of the 3 can pass the resolution.
so everyone else just.
I'll move to pass it.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, so that leaves us then with a roll call of Shackleton,
Aye.
Anderson,
Aye.
and Peters.
Aye.
Great, okay, thank you. Motion carries. Thanks everyone for showing up. You're more than welcome to spend the rest of the afternoon here in the meeting, but we appreciate your activities in support of your grants. Okay, next item is
Yeah, congratulations.
yeah, Resolution 2026-08. This is authorizing the sale of real and personal property assets of Superior National at Utzon Golf Course. So you'll find this in pages 34 through 98 of the packet. And as required under Minnesota Statute 469-105, the EDA held a public hearing earlier this evening regarding the proposed sale. Notice of that hearing was published, and the proposed asset and real estate purchase agreement has been made available for public review. The proposed sale terms are outlined in the purchase agreement between the EDA and Anchor Point Properties Holdings LLC, and was included in the agenda packet. So before we move to a motion and discussion, are there any questions or comments from commissioners? And before I forget, I do want to make one point. Julia Rao asked about the figures in the table associated with the septic and the irrigation totaling 500,000. That's inclusive of the 150% bump. Okay. Just to clarify. Anything from commissioners regarding Superior National?
All feedback I've heard is
Get her done.
go. There have been concerns, clearly from the county about loans and mechanical liens, but I think all move forward.
Yeah, I recently, working with Fred Dutterer, revised the loan agreement. This is the temporary bridge loan between the EDA and the county to get us to a close. To emphasize that it's the EDA's loan with Cook County, and Gunflint View happens to be our preferred source of repayment, but that's where the Cook County ought to be concerned with is the EDA's wherewithal to pay back those funds. And actually, I expect we'll be able to pay those back in the summer of 2026, not 2027, based on, I believe, Gunflint View's plans on refinancing. So the draft is in Jean's inbox, and I believe we're scheduled, or will be scheduled, to go back in front of the commissioners to approve that loan agreement on the 24th of March, if memory serves.
Thank you
A
for all
week
your,
today, yeah.
Thank you for all your work. A lot of back and forth.
A labor of love. Commissioner.
A labor. No love there.
And big thanks to Commissioner Shackleton, who's done a lot of work at keeping the finances running on the golf course.
Yeah. Big lift.
Any other questions or comments regarding this?
Well, I was reading Exhibit B. It's on page, I think, 37. And it's all that part of the north half of the southeast quarter of the northeast quarter and the northeast quarter of the northeast quarter of section 32. I'm thinking one of those is backwards. But
Okay, well,
if legal went through this, then here we are.
okay. You trying to get a rise out of me, or is it?
Mr. President, I'd like to make a motion to approve resolution number 2026-08.
Thank you. Is there a second? Okay. Any other discussion before we take it to a vote?
Well, I think it's helpful to say I'm so happy that the public came and had comments, and I can't see them now, but maybe they're gone, but just to say that it seems like everyone that wanted to speak about it is in agreement with what we've been feeling for several years, and just note that again, it's taken really considerable volunteer leadership on the parts of Clissold and Shackleton to shepherd this baby to this, what we hope is a finish line. And so many thanks to you for your service in leadership in this very complicated, very technical, as Commissioner Mills notes, process, and facing many bumps along the road, and celebrate that we're going to get there, it looks like. Thanks to you.
Well, thank you. And yeah, thanks to the public for taking the time to show up and make comments and support. We appreciate it. Just to review some of the next steps before we take it to a vote. So with the successful vote tonight, we'll then provide details of the deal to the Nelson family, providing them the right of first refusal, which they hold. They'll have up to 90 days to make a decision on that right of first refusal, or less, but no more than 90. When we receive word from Nelson family on their decision, then we've got 60 days to close with Brady Hatcher. So it's kind of the flow of activity. The question mark is whether it's 90 days or 9 days with the Nelson family. That'll then take us to a closing, and Mike Larson has made reasonable progress on progressing both the septic issue as well as the irrigation issue. The latter may get done before we close. The former likely will not. So hence the monies that are due at closing to be held in escrow until those items are complete. So right of first refusal, closing, mitigation of those two issues, kind of in that order, and it'll be some time. Okay. So with that, there's been a motion and it's been seconded. So I'll do a roll call. Mills.
Aye.
Bibi Gudice.
Aye.
Shackleton.
Aye.
Anderson.
Aye.
Peters.
Aye.
And Clissold is an aye, and motion passes. Thank you. All right, so related to the sale of Superior National is the associated loan between EDA and Cook County, and this is to get us to closing. And as you might recall, we've got the outstanding receivable with Gunflint View, which, as presented to the Cook County Commissioners, is our plan to, in fact, pay back this loan. But this is a bridge loan related to the sale of Superior National. As discussed in the memo and included in the agenda packet, the EDA has been working through the sale of Superior National and must continue operating the facility and meet certain capital improvement obligations, that being the septic and the irrigation, prior to closing. So to address the short-term cash flow need during the off-season, Cook County has agreed to provide the EDA with a bridge loan in the amount of $200,000. The loan agreement provides that the loan would mature on September the 1st of 2027 or earlier upon repayment from the Gunflint View loan, which the EDA previously committed as a repayment source. But as I mentioned, we have somewhat softened the language on the proposed loan agreement with Cook County to not strictly tie us to the repayment of that loan, but that would be our preferred route. So the resolution before the board authorizes execution of that loan agreement contingent upon approval by the Cook County Board of Commissioners. So is there a motion to approve resolution 2026-08 authorizing the loan agreement between Cook County and the EDA?
A motion to approve?
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, any further discussion?
There's some blanks in the loan agreement.
Sure, including the interest rate. Yeah, the commissioners, I think rightfully, because the money is currently generating some interest, it's being held in financial instruments, wanted the EDA to pay a comparable amount of interest. Brady Powers estimates that currently to be in the neighborhood of 3.75%. That's yet to be finalized, but the intent, I think, is reasonable, and the figure is nominal, but that's what we're expecting.
And just for reference, we're also earning 4% on that Gunfoot View loan as well.
Ah, okay. Okay,
Thank you.
sure. Okay, so I'll do a roll call on the loan. That's 2026-09. Mills?
Aye.
Bibi Gudice?
Aye.
Shackleton?
Aye.
Anderson?
Aye.
Peters?
Aye.
And Clissold is an aye. Motion carries. Okay, resolution 2026-10, approving the 2026 operating budget for Superior National at Lutsen. That's pages 103 through 111. Oops. And as outlined in the memo, Superior National Board of Governors has reviewed and approved the proposed 2026 budget, which was prepared by consultant Mike Larson in coordination with Superior National staff. So as is customary for the EDA as the official owner of the facility to formally approve the annual budget, the operating budget following a review and recommendation from the Board of Governors. And a budget summary is included in the agenda packet. Treasurer Shackleton, anything you want to point out that's worth noting?
No, this is pretty much what we had planned out a few years ago when we were looking at capital improvements. So this is in line with that. The biggest difference is because we're no longer going to be, our expectation is not to own the golf course this year, so we did not get into a marketing agreement with a third party, and that budget was significant. It was about $50,000 to $60,000, $70,000 per year. So that is no longer going to be an expense for this year. So that would be the biggest difference between this year's budget and prior year's budget. But,
Any questions for Commissioner Shackleton? All right, motion to approve resolution 2026-10 approving the 2026 operating budget for Superior National at Lutsen Golf Course. Is there a motion?
I'll approve, I will.
Second?
Mhm.
Okay, Shackleton and Mills. Do a roll call. Mills?
Aye.
Bibi Gudice?
Aye.
Shackleton?
Aye.
Anderson?
Aye.
Peters?
Aye.
Clissold is an aye, motion carries. All right, that takes us to the committee and commissioner reports. The first is the golf course committee. Really nothing I haven't already added, unless there's any questions regarding golf course. No, repeat that, of course. Taconite Harbor, the last meeting that we held was prior to our most recent general meeting. We were gonna have a Taconite Harbor advisory meeting, but it was the day of some massive snowstorm, so it got canceled. We're gonna meet tomorrow, so I don't have much to report on the Taconite Harbor front because we haven't done anything. So tomorrow's meeting will be in place of last month's. But as you might remember, we're now in the visioning part of the exercise, and we've got these two buckets, one which is more retail and tourism event oriented, and the other one is more industrial, small business sort of oriented. We'll flesh both of those out and begin to map out what each of them might require from an implementation standpoint. That gets us pretty close, I think, to when the advisory committee comes in front of this body and presents its findings.
Sorry about that.
Oh, that was perfect.
Super, yeah.
So that is Taconite Harbor, so not much to share at this stage.
Um,
Commissioner Mills?
Has it gotten to has the value on Minnesota Power's books ever kind of bubbled to the surface of the site?
Well, I don't know about the value, but, Minnesota Power has been in each of the meetings as a guest, if you will, ancillary guest. They've made clear that they don't currently have any plans for that space, so they're being quite neutral. But the impression I get, the fact that they're there is, I think that they're in good faith, and I think they would love to see a viable plan there, and whether they retain ownership and participate in the, in the fruits of that plan, I suppose is up to them, or sell it, that's also up to them. But what I don't see, at least from what I've been hearing and the feeling I get from them, is any sort of industrial plan on their part. I mean, that's down the road motors. Now, Cleveland Cliffs is another story. They've not been involved at all in this advisory process, and arguably they've got more opportunities to retain that from a business standpoint. So that I can't speak to.
I was just wondering because years back, Minnesota Power said, well, if we transfer it, we at least need to get what's on our books,
Okay.
dollars wise. And so
Yeah, we haven't
it has
done-
never been like released, but I'm just wondering if it ever.
Yeah, so yeah, to that specific question, no.
Okay.
Sorry.
They're privately owned now, so. It wouldn't matter.
Huh. I didn't think about that. Huh.
So not disclosed, not.
Well,
Yeah, it would be an
required
issue.
to be disclosed.
Investors, shareholders and stuff, they would have
Yeah.
a say in something like that.
Yeah.
But, if it's private equity, which it is now, just got approved this year, so.
I don't know what to think about that actually. Huh.
They still might want it, but I mean, it wouldn't be like a legal hurdle for them, so.
Okay. Grant review committee. Obviously, you guys have done incredible work, and this, I think, went quite well.
Yeah.
We can talk about how we want to, manage the one resolution or not. You and I discussed a few weeks ago, it was going to be onerous to do everything. Is this too compact? I feel like it worked, but we can certainly reflect on it and fine tune it.
Yeah, I think we kind of lucked out with the quorum, so, I mean, we didn't have, if there's one more recusal, we might have been in trouble,
Or if Ben wasn't here.
True. Yeah, or someone, not here, so. But, I like the way it all went. I mean, it was really nice, so, yeah.
In a world in which every commissioner had a conflict with one or more, then there'd be no one voting on anything. That would be a problem. So, I take your point.
So, I guess just maybe a little, and we'll know ahead of time, right? I mean, that's the thing.
That's true. It won't be a surprise on the
We'll
day.
just plan ahead for it, so it won't be a problem.
Okay.
So, yeah, we went very well.
I said this will probably relate to the HR committee update, but our next deadline is May 4, which is after the new director tentatively starts. So I just wanted to make a very general plan on how we're going to facilitate the next deadline application process. North Shore Development Code did a great job kind of spearheading this one.
Mm-hmm.
We learned a few things. I envision them partnering up with the new director and them tag teaming this next review cycle so that we can duplicate as best our ability the success we had this time around, and then by the third time around, perhaps the new director is flying solo and NSTC is removed from or more of a support kind of consult role.
Yeah, I don't see any less involvement from NSTC in round one, round two rather, and Lucas ought to be shadowing them pretty closely, and then ideally there'd be minimal involvement from NSTC in round three, if anything.
Sounds good.
Okay. Great.
I just had one comment on the draft agreement. It says under, I don't have the page in front of me right now, but that grantees are expected to participate in surveys 1 and 5, and if they have publicity to include related to it, reference the EDA. I thought we were also going to include there will be required to display the EDA sticker around or plaque that Lucas was gonna lead on. I know we don't have it yet, but feels like a loss to give up this group of grantees to not have them include that.
So I think this decal is the thing we're talking about, and that was, I think last year recommended to be included in the contract at some point. So I think that's just maybe just got lost in the shuffle, we can.
Yeah, I mean, we can even add it now.
We can certainly add it.
The fact that we don't have a decal doesn't matter. I mean,
Right.
required to display, I mean, the wording can get sorted out, so the fact that we don't have one doesn't.
Propaganda.
Yeah.
Do you want a motion?
I don't, I mean,
We already passed that.
Yeah, it's already been.
It's just an oversight, I think.
Yeah, it just was missed, that's all. We can add it.
Yeah, great.
okay. HR committee. I can share that, that Lucas, I think you're all aware, has accepted the offer, and we've landed on Monday the 13th of April as his start date. I'm gonna meet with NSDC next week, or very soon, just to work on the onboarding plan. They'll be heavily involved in that, as you can appreciate, including who to reach out to, meeting commissioners, meeting city bigwigs, county bigwigs. So we'll map that out and we'll share it with certainly the HR committee for feedback. But that can't come soon enough, obviously. And although not strictly in the world of HR, there have been a couple of applicants for the open board position, a couple of whom evidently I've scared away because they've gone quiet. So we'll see what comes from that. I know that Siri is working with the potential candidates as well. So nothing imminent there. So I would simply ask that you keep that in mind as you're out and about. You see someone who is both interested in investing the time, but also has the capabilities to make a contribution. Yes.
And also, maybe loosely related to HR, we haven't heard from the SBDC in a couple of monthly meetings. Just curious as to how that's going and what the expectation is. Kind of the updates. Is that something we're going to carry on in 26 or no?
Yeah. So, good question. It was February that Rochelle started as defined by working with Northland in Duluth. They require some onboarding and training and role playing for the new SBDC consultant is able to take on any new clients. And it's my understanding in talking to Northland just late last week that Rochelle is proceeding through that and has now been given the green light to take on clients. So she is now officially in the chair, and you're right, she should be reporting out and joining us at these meetings going forward. So, training wheels are off, and yeah, we should expect that.
Oh, that's a great update. I'm glad everything's moving forward.
Yeah. Great. Anything else from anybody? Thanks for joining us, man.
Yeah,
Thank you.
pleasure.
Appreciate it. Is there a motion to adjourn the March 17th, 2026 meeting at 5:09 p.m.?
A motion to
I'm a,
Series second? Okay.
yeah.
Great, thanks. See everyone on Tuesday, April the 21st. Of course, my phone started.
Thanks again.
Absolutely.
Highlight of your day, no doubt.